we are at war. Not with the world, not with others, but with the shadows that dwell in our own minds. These shadows whisper doubts, fears, and self-defeating thoughts, clouding our judgment and corroding our spirit. We've all felt them, the corrosive voice that tells us we are not enough, the venomous thought that poisons our peace. But here's the truth. Our greatest enemy is not out there. It is within. Marcus Aurelius, the Roman emperor and Stoic philosopher, once wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." If we conquer our thoughts, we conquer the world. If we tame the chaos inside, nothing outside can shake us. Today, we will face this internal enemy. We will learn to silence it, to dismantle it. We will explore the wisdom of the Stoics and sharpen our minds into unbreakable weapons of clarity, strength, and resilience. Are you ready to kill your negative thinking? Then step into the battlefield within. The fight starts now. Number 1. The roots of destructive thinking. Negative thoughts are not sudden storms. They are seeds planted in the soil of our minds, nurtured by fear, past wounds, and self-imposed expectations. When we stand on the brink of a challenge, our minds often betray us by defaulting to shadows of failure. We envision the fall before the first step is even taken. We anticipate rejection, disgrace, or agony, though reality has yet to reveal its cards. This mental habit of catastrophizing is a self-made prison. Marcus Aurelius, the Roman emperor and Stoic philosopher, captured this truth when he wrote, "You suffer more in imagination than in reality." How many battles have we surrendered before they even began, simply because our thoughts became our chains? How often have we let a flicker of doubt turn into a wildfire that consumes our courage and clarity? This cycle is insidious. We give power to hypothetical defeats, and these imagined failures erode our resilience. We become trapped in a loop where our fear of failure becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy. Instead of acting with strength and resolve, we shrink. We hesitate. And in that hesitation, opportunities pass by, moments slip away, and the potential of who we could become fades into the shadows of who we fear we are. The Stoics understood that these thoughts, left unchecked, could poison our entire lives. They taught that mastering our minds was the path to mastering our lives. Marcus Aurelius urged us to confront our inner turmoil directly, saying, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." To reclaim our minds, we must first understand the origin of these destructive thoughts. They do not define us unless we allow them to. They are mere whispers, illusions conjured by a mind seeking protection. But what if we could see them for what they are? Fleeting, hollow, powerless without our consent. Imagine the freedom of recognizing these thoughts and simply choosing not to obey them. That is the first step towards self-mastery. Number 2. The source of negative thinking. Negative thinking is a parasite of the mind. It does not announce itself or knock politely at the door of our thoughts. Instead, it seeps in through cracks of doubt, fear, and insecurity, growing stronger each time we allow it to take root. Marcus Aurelius understood this better than most. He wrote, "The soul becomes dyed with the color of its thoughts." These words are both a warning and a solution. The mind, if left unchecked, will reflect the chaos of negative thoughts. But if we seize control, we can dye our souls with clarity, strength, and resilience. Where does negative thinking come from? It originates from the stories we tell ourselves. We lose a job and the mind whispers, "You're a failure." We experience rejection and the voice says, "You're not good enough." These thoughts are not reality. They are distorted perceptions, born from a lack of self-control. Marcus Aurelius reminds us that these judgments are within our power to change. He wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." The world around us is chaotic, but our response to it is within our grasp. We must acknowledge this truth. Our minds create prisons as well as paths to freedom. The more we indulge negative thoughts, the more we strengthen their chains. However, the moment we choose to redirect these thoughts, we begin to break free. Instead of focusing on what is lost, we focus on what is left. Instead of dwelling on failure, we focus on the opportunity to grow. Our thoughts shape our reality. The mind is a sculptor, and negative thinking deforms its creation. By practicing discipline and self-awareness, we can redirect the sculptor's hand towards strength, courage, and fortitude. Marcus Aurelius did not ask for his challenges as emperor. He faced plague, war, and betrayal. Yet he mastered his thoughts because he knew that external chaos was irrelevant compared to the internal battle. He chose to dye his soul with wisdom and fortitude. We can do the same. We must do the same. For in that battle lies the difference between a life controlled by fear and a life led by purpose. Number 3, recognizing the power of perception. Perception is the lens through which we interpret the world. It colors our experiences, and yet it is something we have the power to change. Negative thinking thrives on distorted perceptions, clouded views that twist reality into something far darker than it truly is. Marcus Aurelius taught us that we are not victims of our perceptions. We are the architects of them. He wrote, "The happiness of your life depends upon the quality of your thoughts." It is a reminder that our inner world determines our outer experience. If we allow negativity to corrupt our perceptions, we surrender our power. Imagine standing in a storm. The rain pelts your face, the wind howls, and the sky darkens. You can curse the storm, feel its weight crushing you, and believe that it is endless. Or you can simply acknowledge it. The storm is a fact, neither good nor bad. It exists and it will pass. This is the essence of Stoic perception. We do not control the storm, but we control how we interpret it. We control whether it becomes a burden or a passing inconvenience. As Marcus Aurelius wrote, "You shouldn't give circumstances the power to rouse anger, for they don't care at all." Negative thinking convinces us that every obstacle is permanent, every setback is catastrophic. But these are illusions. Stoicism teaches us to see challenges for what they are, temporary events that test our resilience. The power lies not in the event itself, but in our judgment of it. We can choose to see a failure as the end of the road or as a lesson that sharpens our wisdom. We can choose to see rejection as proof of our inadequacy or as a redirection towards something greater. Our perceptions are ours to command. The moment we realize this, we reclaim control. We are no longer tossed by the waves of circumstance, no longer prisoners of our own distorted thinking. We become steady, anchored in the truth that we decide what events mean to us. The external world loses its power to dictate our inner state. This is how we kill negative thinking, not by denying reality, but by transforming our perception of it. Number 4, mastering the inner dialogue. The conversations we have with ourselves shape the foundation of our lives. Within our minds, a constant dialogue unfolds, a dialogue that can either build us up or tear us down. Negative thinking often creeps into this dialogue like a shadow, distorting our thoughts, breeding fear, and feeding doubt. Yet, Marcus Aurelius reminds us in his meditations, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." This power is our weapon, our tool to silence negativity before it corrodes our spirit. Think of the inner dialogue as a garden. If we allow weeds to grow unchecked, thoughts of inadequacy, fear, or resentment, they will suffocate everything else. But if we cultivate this garden carefully, planting seeds of reason, resilience, and self-compassion, we create a space where negativity cannot take root. We must become vigilant gardeners, pulling out destructive thoughts the moment they sprout. We must ask ourselves, is this thought serving me, or is it harming me? If it is harmful, we must replace it with something grounded in truth and reason. Consider a moment of failure. Your inner voice might whisper, "I'm worthless, I always fail." This thought is a weed, a falsehood that poisons your perception. Instead, respond with clarity. "I made a mistake. What can I learn from it?" This shifts your focus from self-pity to self-improvement. By mastering this dialogue, we dismantle the hold negative thinking has on us. We begin to understand that failure is not a reflection of who we are, but a step in the process of growth. Marcus Aurelius believed that the quality of our thoughts determines the quality of our lives. We must guard against irrational and destructive thinking. When doubts arise, confront them with logic. When fears creep in, ask yourself, what am I afraid of? And is this fear rational? More often than not, you'll realize that your fears are unfounded. Your doubts are exaggerations. This practice, this mastery of the inner dialogue, is a lifelong pursuit, but it is a pursuit that leads to unshakable peace. In controlling our thoughts, we reclaim the power that negative thinking tries to steal. We become architects of our own minds, designing spaces filled with strength and purpose. This is not about false positivity. It is about relentless clarity. It is about refusing to let irrational fears and unfounded doubts cloud our judgment. By mastering the inner dialogue, we master ourselves. Number 5. Detachment from external outcomes. When we attach our sense of self to outcomes beyond our control, we surrender our peace to chaos. We place our happiness on a knife's edge, balancing precariously on the whims of external events. This is a recipe for endless frustration, anxiety, and disappointment. The Stoics understood this deeply. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "You have no control over the results. You can only control your actions." It is in the detachment from outcomes, in the pure pursuit of what we can control, that true liberation lies. Imagine preparing for an important opportunity, a job interview, an exam, a conversation that matters. You can study, practice, and give your best effort. But the final decision? That lies outside your realm of influence. If you pin your self-worth or happiness solely on the outcome, you hand over your serenity to circumstances you cannot dictate. The Stoic way is different. We focus on what we can do, and we do it with intention, clarity, and diligence. Then, we release attachment to the result. This is not resignation. This is power. Consider an archer. He can train for years, perfecting his aim, drawing the bowstring with precision, and letting the arrow fly. But once it leaves his fingertips, the wind, the weather, the unforeseen can all alter its course. The skilled archer does not despair if he misses. He refines his technique and tries again. We are the archers of our lives, responsible for the effort, not the outcome. This detachment does not mean we stop caring. It means we stop clinging. We care about the process, the action, the discipline, but we do not allow results to enslave us. The wisdom of detachment helps us endure setbacks with grace. When things don't go as planned, instead of spiraling into negative thinking, we remind ourselves, "I did everything within my power." This thought is a shield against despair. It reaffirms our control over ourselves and liberates us from the tyranny of external validation. In a world obsessed with success, achievement, and applause, this is a radical act. It is the act of reclaiming your peace from the grip of uncertainty. By practicing detachment, we free ourselves from unnecessary suffering. We rise above the emotional turbulence that external failures or successes can bring. This is not a path of indifference. It is a path of resilience. It is the ability to give your best and let go of what happens next. The outcome does not define us. Our integrity, effort, and discipline do. Number 6, the power of shifting perspective. Our minds are the battleground where every struggle begins. Negative thoughts creep in like shadows, distorting reality and weighing us down. But the Stoics knew a weapon more powerful than any negativity, the ability to shift our perspective. Marcus Aurelius urged us to remember, the soul becomes dyed with the color of its thoughts. When negativity dominates, we are painting our lives with the darkest hues. But when we choose a different perspective, we take control of our minds and see life for what it truly is. Not a punishment, but a challenge to rise above. When faced with difficulties, we often react with frustration, anger, or despair. Yet what if we viewed obstacles as opportunities to grow stronger? The Stoics remind us that it is not the event itself that harms us, but our judgment of it. Epictetus wisely said, "Men are disturbed not by things, but by the views they take of them." Imagine being caught in traffic on the way to an important meeting. You could curse the delay, feel your heart pound, your mind spiral into frustration. Or you could use the moment to breathe, to reflect, to practice patience. The traffic doesn't change, but you do. Shifting perspective is not denying reality, it is mastering it. A setback at work is not a failure, it is a lesson in resilience. A harsh word from someone is not an attack, it is a reminder of your own strength to remain calm. We become invincible not by avoiding difficulties, but by transforming how we experience them. When we adopt this mindset, negativity loses its power over us. We see life's trials not as curses, but as opportunities to forge our inner steel. The beauty of perspective is that it is always within our grasp. While we cannot control what happens to us, we can always control how we interpret it. This is the foundation of true freedom, the ability to dictate how we respond to the world, no matter how chaotic it becomes. By consciously choosing a Stoic lens, we eliminate the power that negativity holds over us. We become architects of our own reality, constructing a life not of despair, but of purpose, clarity and strength. So the next time darkness clouds your mind, pause. Ask yourself, is there another way to see this? More often than not, the answer is yes. By mastering perspective, we reclaim our peace, one thought at a time. Number 7, practicing the art of letting go. One of the greatest burdens we carry is the illusion of control. We cling tightly to our expectations, our desires, and our fears, believing we can dictate the outcome of every situation. But this is where negativity festers, in our refusal to let go of what we cannot change. The Stoics taught us a profound truth. Freedom lies in relinquishing control over external events and focusing solely on our own responses. As Epictetus put it, some things are up to us and some are not up to us. By understanding this, we unshackle ourselves from frustration, disappointment, and anxiety. Think of a river. You can fight against its current, exhausting yourself in the process, or you can learn to navigate it, flowing with its natural course. Life operates in the same way. When we resist reality, we create suffering. We lament lost opportunities, wasted time, or unfair circumstances. But reality doesn't bend to our will, it simply is. Marcus Aurelius reminds us, you have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this and you will find strength. Our power lies in acceptance, in the ability to let go of what we cannot control. Letting go does not mean surrendering to weakness. It is an act of incredible strength and courage. It requires us to face life with open hands, not clenched fists. When a relationship ends, when plans fall apart, or when we face unforeseen challenges, our instinct may be to fight against these realities. But fighting the uncontrollable is like fighting the wind, futile and draining. Instead, we must release our grip and focus on how we can move forward. By letting go, we make space for new growth, new possibilities, and inner peace. The art of letting go teaches us resilience. It trains us to remain centered, no matter what storms rage around us. The world may shift, people may change, and outcomes may disappoint us, but our ability to respond with grace remains unshaken. As Seneca advised, we suffer more in imagination than in reality. Many of our anxieties are born from holding on to what we wish would happen, rather than accepting what has happened. Letting go frees us from this mental prison. So, let us practice this art daily. When a situation spirals out of our control, take a breath and remind yourself, this is not mine to control, but my response is. In that moment, you reclaim your power. You break the chains of negativity and open the door to a mind that is unburdened, clear, and free. Conclusion: the true power of the Stoic mind. In the end, the battle against negative thinking is not one fought in isolation. It is a shared struggle, one that every individual must face. But it is also a battle that we, as Stoics, are uniquely prepared for. We are not immune to the forces of negativity, nor are we exempt from the frustrations of life. However, we possess a tool more powerful than any external circumstance: the control of our own thoughts. Marcus Aurelius' teachings, grounded in the timeless principles of Stoicism, reveal that our true strength lies in our capacity to master our minds. The external world may shape our experiences, but it is only we who determine how we will respond to it. In this simple truth, we find a source of endless power. By acknowledging that we cannot control what happens to us, but we can always control how we respond, we reclaim the reins of our own lives. Think of all the negative thoughts that cloud your mind. Thoughts of failure, inadequacy, resentment, and fear. Every one of them is an invitation to surrender, an invitation to allow external circumstances to define you. But you need not accept this invitation. Instead, choose to rise above it, choose to let go of what you cannot change, and choose to embrace the present moment with a calm, focused mind. When you practice this, when you commit to embracing the Stoic mindset every day, you will begin to notice a profound shift within yourself. You will feel the weight of negativity lift, replaced by a sense of freedom and inner peace. Your relationships will improve, your actions will become more deliberate, and your life will unfold with a clarity you may have never experienced before. In the words of the Stoic philosopher Epictetus, it's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters. This, perhaps, is the most powerful lesson we can learn. Negative thoughts will always arise, but we have the choice, the power, to not be consumed by them. We can confront them, acknowledge them, and then release them. The more we practice this, the less control negativity has over us. Remember, This journey is not about perfection. It is about progress. Every time you silence your negative thoughts, you move closer to the person you are meant to become. Every moment spent in control of your mind is a victory. Every step you take toward inner peace is one worth celebrating. So, let us take this wisdom and apply it, not as a theory to be admired, but as a practice to be lived. We are all on this path together, striving toward a greater mastery of our thoughts and actions. And through this shared journey, we can unlock the deepest form of freedom from the tyranny of our own minds.